This morning we're continuing our focus on the 10th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Immediately after the attacks, many people turned to their faith, but religious leaders say not for long. And Fox 11's Robert Hornacek is on special assignment. He joins us with a preview of tonight's story. Loved your story that aired last night and again this morning on Good Day. And,
thank you.
Good morning. Nice to see you back
Good morning
here.
again. Today we're going to talk about faith, and you know, in many ways the terrorist attacks of September 11th tested people's faith, but they also really renewed a lot of people's faith. If you remember what it was like in the days and weeks after 9/11, churches across the country were packed. The Friday after the attacks, there was a national day of prayer and remembrance. But of course, religious leaders point out that renewed sense of faith didn't last too long.
I wish I could say that it continued, and I'm sure in the lives of some people it drew them to the Lord, but I think we are far from that point today.
Now, coming up tonight on Fox 11 News at 5 and 9, we'll take a closer look at faith 10 years after 9/11. We'll hear from an area Muslim and get his thoughts on the anniversary, and we'll also speak to several other religious leaders. So that's coming up tonight at 5 and 9.
Yeah, it seems like a common response to turn to your faith after tragic events like that. When I remember that day, churches all over opened their doors to anyone who wanted to come in.
Exactly, and that is a very common response. We talked to a religious studies professor who said, listen, when something big happens, people try to make sense of it. They try to understand what's happening, why it's happening, and what he calls, they start to ask ultimate questions. What's my purpose? Why am I here? And he said that's pretty much the purpose of religion, to answer those questions, so it's natural for people to gravitate towards it.
Yeah, but then it seemed to fade.
Yes, and that's also what I found out, a very common response, because if you can imagine when a tragic event happens, it exposes our vulnerability. We start to ask those questions, but eventually life starts to get back to normal. Things go back to our routines, and the things we started to do fade. So that's another thing we'll explore in detail tonight.
Tonight at 5 and 9.
At 5 and 9.
Okay, and then this weekend, talk about your big show.
This weekend on CW14, our sister station, we're going to be launching a new program called CW14 Focus. It's basically going to be a half-hour sit-down interview program focusing on important issues facing Northeast Wisconsin. This week we're going to start off, because it's September 11th, we're going to focus exclusively on the September 11th attacks and the 10th anniversary. We've got two guests coming in to offer their reflections, their memories about the day. We also really want to take a look at where we are as a nation and as a community 10 years after.
Looking forward to that on Sunday. Thanks, Robert.